Welcome back. Listen, I'm thrilled that you're going to join me on my travels across America. And as we travel, you're going to be introduced to real estate investors from coast to coast. Now, their success stories, well, they're all unique, just like the real estate deals. But the one thing they've got in common, that's Renatus. They are all Renatus educated, and most of them earn income marketing our education services as well. Now, listen, I selected this diverse group of investors to show you folks from all walks of life who are having extraordinary results. They have made it possible because they don't just talk about real estate profits. No. They apply the education and then they take massive action. These are individuals who understand the old saying that nothing works if you don't. So with that understanding, hey, let's begin our adventure as we travel coast to coast so that you can see for yourself that the deal of the decade comes along about once a week if you know where to look.
Our first stop is in Atlanta, Georgia, at a fix and flip property owned by investor Sandra Ostrander. After struggling for 18 years with books, tapes, and CDs, Sandra was able to close her first deal after she found Renatus.
How long was it after you got involved with the Renatus Educational Service as well as the community support that you started doing deals?
My first deal I did within just a few weeks of having my education turned on, 3 weeks as a matter of fact.
Is that right?
My first deal was amazing. It was life-changing for me.
Really? So 3 weeks?
3 weeks from the day my education was turned on.
Okay, now listen, I just have to point this out. 18 years, 18 years, books, tapes, and CDs, 3 weeks with Renatus. I mean, you know, I'm a little biased, but I kind of think what we've got here is pretty special.
It is the best, in my opinion. It is the best. To get in a room with local people who are all educated the same, who are driven and passionate about real estate investing, and talk about deals and get your questions answered, that was huge for me.
I mean, that first deal you were doing, obviously you must have done it creatively.
Yes.
Because your resources were low and you didn't have any credit. How did you pull that off?
So what I did was when I was watching my classes, I was able to write down the timestamp of certain notes that I was taking. So I went back and referred to my notes, went back, watched the classes in a 24-hour period of time to figure out how I was going to make an offer to this lady. And I ended up acquiring the property for $10 down.
$10. $10 down.
No credit.
Isn't that a beautiful thing?
It was awesome.
So what would you say to the individuals who are saying, yeah, but if you're going to do real estate, man, it takes money to make money?
I'm going to say it does take money. It just doesn't have to be your money.
And there's the magic behind it.
That is right.
Yeah.
It's all that's the power of the education.
This is Sandra's 26th investment property. She purchased the home for $45,000 and plans on putting $47,000 in repairs into the property. This would include a new master bedroom and bath, replacing the front porch staircase, adding new windows, and fixing the foundation. Small repairs can lead to big profits, and in this case for Sandra, she's hoping for $30,000 plus. We're heading over to one of Bill Omey's buy and hold properties in Union Point, Georgia. Bill worked as an engineer building computer systems for corporate America. When he was laid off after 23 years, he had to find a new way to generate income, and that's when he turned to real estate.
Okay, seasoned investor. I mean, you were out there crushing it in the real estate market. So why in the world would you get involved with an educational company like Renatus that teaches people how to do what you were already doing?
I went through 2008, so I started my career somewhere around 2001, and I watched a lot of people get crushed during that crash.
Yeah.
A lot of people that I thought knew what they were doing. And that was scary because here I was doing well, and I continued to make money during the crash, but it wasn't because I was good, it was because I was lucky.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start becoming smarter, hanging out with people that were smarter than me. I wanted to build that business on a sound foundation. And when I saw Renatus, at first I was like, I'm already doing real estate investing. I'm too cool for school. You know, I went through the cycle.
Right.
And then I started looking and I said, okay, if I can learn some really good things out of this, it could explode my business.
Yeah.
And by talking to people in Renatus and finding out how they were finding deals, it added to what I already knew. And I know how to create value because I've taken classes and I've talked to people. It's just like, just turn the crank and go.
So obviously, yeah, life has improved, things have improved. Where would your business be today without Renatus?
Well, I probably would be working a corporate job because I wouldn't have been able to build it as big as it is, and I wouldn't have been able to generate as much cash flow because of that value creation. I mean, I have learned to create so much value for my customers, which are my tenants, that not only do I not have a job, except for real estate investing, but my wife doesn't have to work. And because of Renatus, I filled in the blanks on my model, so the thing's running on all cylinders. I mean, I just, you know, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, this is killer. I got to do more of this. I mean, this house behind me is a great story. I mean, this was like, I picked this thing up for a song because not only the classes, but the confidence of going into a deal and saying, you know what, this is no big deal. I can do this.
Yeah. So $3,000 to $4,000 in, you got $15,301
Figure
in
20
acquisition.
to make the math easy.
Okay.
I'll rent this thing $750 a month.
$750.
Yeah, so figure, throw 2 months away for taxes and insurance. I'm talking about 35% return on asset price, not cash. I'm not leveraging.
Right.
Just on asset price, 35%.
35%.
I'm telling you.
Man, I'm telling you what, you know, go to your stockbroker and say,
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
okay, here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for at least a 35% return on investment.
Right.
Right.
And I want to buy those stocks at an 80% discount. I don't think you're going to be in that conversation very long.
No, you're not.
Bill picked up this 1,200 square foot home through the foreclosure process at an auction, paying only $15,301 for the initial property and investing approximately $4,700 in. Bill's going to paint the kitchen cabinets, paint the walls, polish the wood floors, and spend some time talking to his future tenants about what they want to see happen in the property. At the end of the day, Bill plans on renting this amazing buy and hold for $750 a month, creating a 35% return on asset price. We're on our way out west to Ogden, Utah, where we go to meet Stephanie Davis. Stephanie is a mother of 3 and wanted to find projects she could work on part-time that would help her supplement the family income. When Stephanie's cousin showed her Renatus, she learned what part-time income from real estate investing could really look like.
So what did you like about what you saw?
I was in love with the fact that there were people who were willing to help, who, I mean, I don't know how to do this. I had no idea how to fill out a contract. I had no idea how to find houses. And all of a sudden there was a group of successful people that were like, come on, let's go play.
Yeah.
Come do it with us. And that meant a lot to me.
Yeah, that's outstanding. I love it. I mean, you know, it's all, we really try to influence the group to take on that cooperative spirit rather than a competitive one. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So I think my first experience with it, I posted something on one of our groups, I think our Facebook group, and I just said, I found a house. Does anyone have experience in subject to? Because I didn't know. And I had probably 5 or 6 people who posted and were like, yeah, reach out to me. I'd be happy to share. And then the next day, somebody called me and just said, I wanted to make sure that you had your question answered. And it led to probably a 45-minute phone call where this person with all of this expertise was willing to reach out and help somebody brand new who literally had nothing to gain financially and didn't ask for a single thing, but it was, I want to make sure that you are getting your questions answered.
I love to hear that, and I love to hear that everybody is supporting one another and assisting one another. You know, how's the education, you know, helped empower you to move forward and take action?
The way that the information is presented, it presents doctorate level ideas at a high school level understanding. Not to diminish what you're getting, but it's just, hey, I've been doing this for years. Here's step by step my system. Here's the questions that I had. Here are the things that worked and didn't work. Go.
Right.
And you can't beat that.
You know, sometimes we refer to our business as really creating a lasting legacy. How do you see that unfolding in your life?
I like to talk about it this way. I feel like my whole purpose in teaching my kids and my why is so that they never have to follow the money and they never have to get a job or go into something because that's what's going to make the most money. I want them to have that understanding of how money works and how it can work for them so that they can spend their lives doing whatever it is that brings them joy and happiness and will change the world.
Yeah.
And that's a lasting legacy. That's something that my kids can take and can teach and can share, and that will directly affect them and me for forever.
Stephanie's Fix and Flip features a 1,300 square foot single family residence that she purchased for $54,000. During the rehab process, they found an extra 500 square feet of additional space available in the downstairs. They opened up the front room and kitchen, added a formal dining room, removed the fireplace from the front room, replaced cabinets, added new granite countertops and windows, and added a basement apartment in the downstairs. After spending an estimated $52,000 in repair costs, Stephanie is hoping to see more than $100,000 in net profit on the transaction. We're on our way over to Walnut Creek, California to meet experienced real estate agents Frank Verni and Denise Patterson near Sacramento, California. They show us there is something in Renatus for everyone.
As a mortgage broker, as a real estate agent, I mean, come on, don't you already know it all about real estate?
Nope.
What in the heck do you need Renatus for, right?
I thought I knew a lot, and then I actually went to one or two of the intensive trainings, and I watched some of the programs and said, you know what, I don't know that. I didn't know that, and realized all of a sudden that maybe I just didn't know what I thought I knew.
Yeah.
And I've taken every class now that there is, and it's been really, the knowledge is unbelievable. We have such a wide variety of information, from buy and holds to commercial to notes to whatever you want. And there are so many avenues to study and to get involved in, and Renatus touches base on all of them. And my particular niche right now is with these fix and flips. I've done commercial property with my IRA, which I didn't know I could do.
Yeah.
So this is how my life has changed.
And let me tell you, being a realtor for about 30 plus years, there's a lot of information that we don't know. And so this was so much more exciting, opened a lot of doors, has changed my life, a new community of friends across the USA. Met a lot of friends here, and it's not just about getting your financial house in order. It's about creating passive income, learning the real estate investment side of it, and I'm so excited about that because I know where I'm going to be in 5 years, where I can say 3 years ago I had no idea.
So Frank, the bad economy really had a negative impact on you. Knowing what you know now about real estate with all the different courses that you've been through, good economy, bad economy, where do you see your future?
I don't really care. Prices right now in the Bay Area and here and in all of California are higher than the rest of the country. But it doesn't matter because there's properties available everywhere. Yeah. You just need to know how to find them.
And I think that's it. It's the education that opens these doors to allow you to work through the economy no matter what it is.
Also, your independent marketing affiliates.
Correct.
When you got started with Renatus, were you all jacked up about, just doing real estate deals, or was it the opportunity to actually help enroll other students that got you fired up?
Well, for me, it was always real estate.
Yeah.
And, I've started to, do a little marketing. I have about 40-something people on my team. And it wasn't really my priority, although I realize now that it's becoming more of my priority.
Right.
And it's taken a while to get there.
Denise, what was your take on that?
Me, it was marketing.
Yeah?
It was full force, whole education, go out and do marketing. And we built a very strong team. So that was the part. And now I've kind of stepped back from that. I need to get back into that because this is the interesting part. 5 of those team members bought real estate deals and listings to me and fix and flip to us. So we don't ever want to discount that. And so the magic is working it together, and it will unfold if you keep putting one step in front of the other.
And the owner of this house, he was a contractor, and he actually walked away personally with about $50,000 in equity, which he would have lost.
Very good.
And so, we helped him and made it happen. The other weird thing is that, I had done lots of short sales. And then when I got involved with Renatus and watched the short sale classes, and I'm looking at it going, I didn't know that. I didn't know you could do that. They've done thousands and I was doing hundreds.
Right.
And it was just a whole different way to approach it. It wasn't very different, but some of their ideas were ideas that I started to implement, and they worked.
Well, I think it's time for us to go in the house.
I think
that we
so,
can
too.
See
I'm ready.
what you've done.
I'm ready.
We're pumped as well, so let's go get the grand tour.
Okay,
Alrighty.
let's go.
Sounds good.
Picking up this amazing California property through foreclosure, they've knocked out walls, raised floors, added new windows and lighting, opened up the kitchen and master bedroom, along with painting the exterior. Some extensive work went into the outside as well, rehabbing the exterior pool and doing a touch-up to all the landscaping. Frank and Denise will place this amazing home on the market for $1.4 million. Just outside of Los Angeles, California, we head to the fix and flip property of Noah, Mario, and Brian. Friends before they found Renatus. Once in the community, they became investing partners. They show us how deals can be found in any market, if you know how and where to look.
I run into people all across the country. And you know, it's interesting how many of them use a common, what I would call excuse for not taking action. And that is, oh, this deal might work in Utah, this deal might work in Arizona, this deal might work in Chicago, this deal might work in Atlanta, but there ain't no way in the world you can get real estate to pop and make that kind of money here in California. It's interesting because I hear that from the guys in Arizona. Oh, yeah, they can make money in California. Yeah, they can make money in Colorado. They can make money in Idaho. So I hear that everywhere I go. And everywhere I go, I find students just like you who are making it happen.
Absolutely.
You know? So talk to me about the California market.
It doesn't really matter where you're at. If the numbers work, then you can do it. The difference between our numbers here and, say, Arizona is instead of maybe a couple 100,000, it's like $500,000 here. But the profits, I mean, the way we like to do it is we like to make a minimum of at least 30,000 per flip that we're doing. And it doesn't take us 40 hours to do these flips, right? Maybe 2 or 3 hours a week, so we can do multiple deals at a time. So if we're doing multiple deals at a time at 30,000 each, say 3 to 4, and it takes 3 to 4 months, I mean, that ends up being close to 480,000 a year.
Right.
We're doing this in California, but we don't fall in love with any deal. And what did he say? He said, we don't need a deal. There's plenty of deals here in California. So those people saying like, you can't do it in this or that state, they just don't have the education we have. They might be from some other school of mythology where maybe that doesn't work. But no, we can just easily say no to a deal because we know they're lined up for us just right here in California.
Now when I go into a deal, I know what to look for. I know what questions to ask. I know which I's to dot and T's to cross because I've been trained by some of the best in the business. And I have those people as my mentors and resources that I can go to with any contract I have or any deal that I have. I can make a phone call to any dozen people and say, hey, can you give me some guidance on this? Can you help me with this? Can you answer some questions? It's invaluable. I can't put a price tag or I can't put a value on that level of comfort. I'm not by myself anymore.
You know, when I started the company, I got to tell you, I had a big vision of how the students would come together and support one another. I knew that if we created an environment, you know, with the education, with the classes, with the instructors, I mean, we've got practitioner instructors that, I mean, they make their full-time living doing what they're going to teach you how to do, right? I knew that if we put the right infrastructure together, created the right environment, that people being good and being honorable and wanting to do the very best by each other when we create a cooperative environment instead of a competitive one, would support one another. Everything that you guys are describing, man, I'll tell you what, you talk about warming my heart. This is like, you know, my dream fulfilled. So this is fantastic. So gentlemen, now, you know, like we often do, we really want to show folks what you're doing inside the property here. So would you mind giving us a tour?
Absolutely.
Come on in.
Then let's check it out.
We often hear that California costs too much money to do real estate transactions. Noah, Mario, and Brian teach us just the opposite. In their current fix and flip that they purchased for $530,000, an $85,000 repair budget will open up the kitchen, build a bigger floor plan, knock out walls to create one living and great room, add new floors, carpet, and doors to the project. They plan to net over $55,000 on the project. From sunny Southern California to metropolitan Chicago, we next meet Devayani Pandev. A single mother of 2 children, she wanted to change life patterns, empower and teach her children about how money can really work, and create a legacy of wealth and prosperity for her family.
5 years of being involved with the community and the education, you know, what do you think that one thing is that helped you the most?
I have to come back to community. Like even, see, in these last 5 years, I also had 2 kids.
Yeah.
So I wasn't always involved in person. Like initially, the first year, always there, all the meetings and everything. And then going through 2 pregnancies and 2 newborns and all of that, I couldn't really be there. And that was not a physically easy time at all, you know? And I was doing 20 deals during this time. So even though I wasn't there in person, there were the webinars and the conference calls, and just knowing that the community is there, that I could lean on, and that can support me when needed, and that when the kids, like the little one is now 21 months old, so I can now go out more and do more, that they were going to be there when I was ready to come back, you know, and go to be involved, like, and come to all the meetings and the events and stuff. And so that was, you know, that was it.
Talk to me about what you've learned in Renatus and how that's going to pay off with teaching your kids to be investors later on.
To be able to just do whatever they want with their lives, spend their time the way that they want to. But when they start young enough and understand business and opportunities and just they'll own real estate and have this cash flow, they don't have to be stressed about finances while they're figuring out who they are, what they want to be, and how they want to spend their time and their lives. You know, and I just spent 20 years just trying to like just get both my feet on the ground, you know, and feel stable and figure out who I am and what I want to do. And I want them to be able to do that without worrying about finances. And not just from me because I have the money, but because they own stuff and they can earn it themselves without doing the 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week that sometimes people put in. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, that's what you want for each generation. We want to be able to pass it on and pay it forward in a big way. Not to mention the fact that you're having a huge impact on, you know, restoring neighborhoods and beautifying the Chicagoland area. That's got to feel good as well. You're putting folks to work, you're creating jobs. I mean, look at all the good stuff you've done, from going a Netflix junkie to now real estate investor.
You know what? Actually, that's like that when there are challenging times, or when I have to, like, you know, go and find a solution, like go a different way than I wanted to. At the end of the day, that it's what you said. It's like, there was a little house here that was about to fall apart, and now it's one of the tallest houses in the neighborhood. I mean, we weren't shooting for that, but that's what ended up happening. It's beautiful. I mean, there's for a commuter, it's going to be a dream because they can just like walk over to the train station.
Oh,
you know,
I noticed the train's a half a block this way. I mean, talk about centrally located.
Amazing. The neighborhood's amazing for kids. There's festivals. I mean, I'm excited for the family that's going to come in here. I just really hope a great family is able to find this place.
Devayani found this fix and flip property through a real estate agent that helps her in her investing business. They found quickly into the project that this 900 square foot remodel was less expensive to completely demolish and rebuild than it was to try and repair. After running the numbers, they picked up the property for $96,000, put $150,000 into rehab and construction costs, and plan to place the property on the market in the near future. Turning the house from a 3-bedroom, 1-bath into a 5-bedroom, 3-bath suburban paradise, Devayani knows how to make real estate work for her. We next head to John and Pamela McCants from Phoenix, Arizona. Renatus gave John and Pamela new insights into real estate investing and the love and support of a community of investors.
John, Pam, it's great that you have us in front of your home.
Welcome to our project home.
Your project, yes, your project. Not a humble abode, but a project home.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. You know, for both of you, one question. How is your life different today with Renatus than it was before without?
I think for me, definitely my life has been enriched. Having owned a commercial plumbing company, we didn't have a lot of social community, you know, and just good people supporting each other, helping each other, guiding each other, created some wonderful friendships that I otherwise would not have today. So I just am very thankful for the way you've designed this company, the way that it plays out, and it's definitely changed my life for the better.
Thank you, Pam. John, you've been with Renata since the beginning as a student and then stepped into the role of instructor. I'm kind of curious about something. How long have you been a real estate investor now?
Goes back to 1991.
1991?
Yep.
Wow.
The old-fashioned way, the old school way, the Lone Ranger way, until I learned the newer way. Yeah, yeah. And it worked though, you know, it worked, but nothing like what forming a team like we're doing here now does.
Right.
Nothing compares to it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so for a long time, Bob.
Yeah.
I came to you guys with a lot of experience. Needed some retraining, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, that retraining has paid off in a big way, and it's fun to see the projects that you're working on, you know, right now, and we're standing in front of them, one of them here, which is pretty remarkable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love for you to be able to share a little bit about this deal and, you know, how you found it, why you guys decided to move forward on it, and what your plans are.
I grew up here, so I was aware of the values of this location and the uniqueness and the views. And we just kind of talked about it, of course, on the way home, because it's a very unique home. And we both just kind of woke up the next morning and said, God, what if we lived there? You know, how
We took
fun
it seriously,
would that
didn't we?
be? You know, well, at first I think we were just joking and we were just tossing it around. Well, how fun would that be to live in that house and in that location? And then we both just kind of looked at each other and went, really? Could we? Would we? And
Well, you have one other really grand advantage too, and that is that a brand new investor would view a project like this as, I'm sure, being a very daunting task.
Absolutely, Bob. And you know, as we've been trained, you say, what are some of the differences in Renata since I've come along in the old way of doing things? I don't think I would have looked at this even close if it were before, and at the way I did now, even though I could have made the decision. But what's so cool about what our main plan is that we have a backup plan or two. If for some reason the market changes, something happens, I know there's a way to make this happen.
The numbers change everything, don't they?
You know, and lifestyle for a couple years, what the heck? We can say we lived on top of a mountain in this house.
John and Pamela opted to use this expansive custom estate as their residence during an extensive 2-year remodel. Their goal of living in the property as their primary residence during construction can provide significant savings in future capital gains taxes. This desert oasis boasts 360-degree views of metropolitan Phoenix and countless custom features that make this home an exceptional place to entertain. Also from Phoenix, we meet Andy Wilkinson. An engineer and PhD student in a doctoral program, Andy found at Renatus a faster path to reach his goal of business ownership.
And I thought that I needed a doctorate to create a nationwide business. And I started Renatus and my doctoral program at the same time in parallel for about a year. And I can tell you that I have put my doctoral program on hold, and I am pursuing Renatus full-time. So I'm a full-time business owner, successful real estate investor, and I honestly could not be happier.
So instead of just dipping your toe in the water, I mean, you were all in.
Yes.
All in. Why? Why didn't you take a little easier path and transition over time? What is it about you that made you go, I'm just going to do this thing?
Well, in my mind, if I was going to spend 50, 60 hours a week doing something, I want to be spending 50, 60 hours a week doing something that, one, I love and enjoy, and two, is going to set me on the path that I want for my family.
So what is it you enjoy about real estate investing?
It's more than just the investing. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to create my own business. Just that type of personality where I like to be in control, of course.
Right.
And just to have the freedom to where I can be at home with my son. I wake up, my wife and I, when he wakes up in the morning, we both go in there, not every morning, but most mornings, we go in together and get to see my little boy wake up in the morning. That is absolutely priceless to me. And to be able to be there when he needs me, even if he doesn't need me, just be able to be there and see him grow up. I couldn't put a price tag on that, and that's really what my motivation is.
Why Renatus? I mean, there's a lot of different, real estate training programs that are out there across the country. Why did you choose us? I
did my due diligence. I looked for months at different programs and looked at all the different things that the other programs entailed, and I didn't find anything that came near what Renatus had to offer.
Yeah.
But when you have the incredible education, which is available 24/7, I do watch a lot of classes late at night. But to have the support, because when you learn something, it's like when you're in college. You learn something, if you can study with a group, you can get results so much faster.
Yeah. Does it give you comfort knowing that you've got complimentary lifetime access after your first year, so you've always got current, relevant, and accurate information?
Absolutely. I mean, when I think about university work, if I want to go back and get some updated information, that's typically not an option. But with the Renatus education, when I started, I believe there was 47 classes, and now we're close to 60, 59 or 60, I believe.
Yeah.
That's incredible, and I haven't paid another cent.
So what, we gave you that stuff for free?
I really appreciate that, Bob.
I must be crazy. You know, honestly, I've had some of my business colleagues that have said, you've lost your mind. I mean, you could you could create a continuity program out of that, you could build a subscription model, you could charge on an annual basis for all the new classes, all the update classes. And I said, listen, we're about student outcomes and about making sure that folks really get it and understand it and then can apply it more than we are about the almighty dollar. Because I have a philosophy. You take care of the student and the company will be just fine. You know, you're living proof of that.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about the real estate deals you've done. How long have you been involved with this and how many deals have you done?
I've been involved for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
But my first, honestly, close to a year, I was studying the doctoral program, which was basically a full-time job.
Yeah.
So it was only about 9 to 10 months really full-time.
Okay.
I've been in close to 20 transactions total.
Wow.
Including some tax liens in Colorado and Florida. I've worked with some partners on some wholesale deals. I have a fix and flip project right here, which we found. And just on October 1st, just 3 weeks ago, I closed on an assisted living business.
Ooh, good for you.
I acquired with none of my own money and none of my own credit, which is unbelievable.
Wow.
With all the different learning paths that we have, I'm proof for 4 or 5 different paths. You take the classes, you apply the knowledge, you get results. It's not just on one project either. I've lived it from multiple projects and multiple strategies.
Andy purchased the property for $193,000 including holding costs, spent approximately 20 hours on the entire transaction, and he'll net $20,000 on the transaction. From the heat of the Arizona desert, we head to the cool breezes and lush green landscapes of the Pacific Northwest in Seattle, Washington. In Seattle, we meet Dominic Wood. Renatus has helped Dominic and his new daughter build the lifestyle where dreams can really come true.
Starting out in this business at such a young age, I had more of a vision that I was going to make money for myself. I maybe just didn't have the right head on at that point.
Yeah.
There was a difference in my purpose that changed the reason why I was more successful going into Renatus. And that purpose was this little girl that came into my life. And this little girl named Ashlyn, who's my now 6-year-old daughter, she, at the time when she was 2 years old, she was my sister's daughter. And she had been in a car accident and my sister was no longer able to take care of her. So I had a new reason to focus on a new business and a new reason to be successful, not just for myself, but for this little girl that came into my life.
That little girl has got to have been the proper motivation for you to really move forward.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. It's been such a joy to be able to raise a little girl in this industry, to be able to take her and do the things that she wants to do and have this time available to do that. She gets to go snowboarding, she gets to go horseback riding, she gets to do swimming, she gets to do anything that she wants. And one of my biggest goals last year I set for myself was to buy 10 houses in 90 days. And since I got 9, I decided I got close enough and that we were going to do that trip. So actually this summer, we were in Europe for 4 weeks. I took Ashlyn and we traveled the world with my mom and her husband, and we did it. Like I was able to achieve some of my goals and get reward myself and our family for doing that and raise a little girl through this process.
Yeah. Could you have done that in the restaurant business?
I couldn't even, there were months where I didn't even have a single day off in the restaurant business. So no, I could never have done that if I had a restaurant. It just wouldn't even be feasible. I couldn't afford it. There's no way. In
the last 4 years or so now, since we've reconnected, you've been out there cranking it. You've done a great job, you and Rob and so many of the folks up here in Seattle. How many deals have you done in the last 4 years?
That's a good question. We last year flipped, wholesaled, and just retail listed about 20 houses. This year we're on track to do a similar number. That was about $17 million last year. I'd have to calculate what we're doing this year, but it's going to be really similar. Okay. The coolest thing about what we've been doing over the last few years is, as we've basically upped our ante, is we increased the type of projects that we're doing. And so we're not doing just the smaller $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 homes. Now we're working on multi-million-dollar projects, and that has been one of the coolest transitions for our business, is being able to see much larger profit margins because we're doing much larger deals. So
yeah, oh, that's outstanding.
Yeah.
That is. Why is it so important to learn multiple real estate strategies?
Oh boy, I utilize a different strategy on almost every purchase. So I've done short sales, I've done a subject to, I've done foreclosures, of course, I've done probates. Every different types of transaction, you never know which one it is going to be tomorrow that the deal comes and lands on your lap, but you better be prepared to negotiate whatever it is that comes along.
Yeah.
I've learned over the years, because of our instructors, all the different types of transactions that we could apply, and then when something comes along and it's a short sale deal, I can pull out the short sale tool and apply it.
For Dominic, real estate investing is about vision, and it was his vision that updated this 1954 rental to be a truly exquisite family retreat. Converting the single-family rebuild with over $180,000 in remodel costs and expenses, Dominic created a 5-bedroom, 3-bath escape fit for any family. From west to east, we moved from Washington to Washington, D.C. in our nation's capital to meet Umair and Erica. Umair and Erica found an amazing fix and flip from members of the Renatus community. After purchasing the property for just under $325,000, they invested $33,000 into rehab and remodel, estimating a $34,000 profit after the property is put back on the market for sale. No money was used out of pocket for either investor. They used private money lending, negotiated interest and points, and raised 20% down from a self-directed IRA. This project truly illustrates the power of the Renatus education system.
What have you learned in Renatus to help you understand how to take a house like this and know what to do with it?
Yeah, so as we saw the property, obviously we've learned how to start from the exterior, look around the whole property. I learned this in rehabbing day 1 and day 2. Yeah. Certain things that we want to look for as far as, so this was a home that we bid on, but luckily we had boots on the ground in this area, right? So we drove by, looked around, looked at the foundation, made sure there was no major red flags, and we really started assessing what needs to be done. And what I learned as far as going through the property in my classes is whenever I walk into a property, I make a right turn. And I'll keep making right turns until I end up right back at that front door. And as I'm going through it, I'm just making notes. I'm saying, hey, what do we want to do? Because we're building the vision for the property.
Right.
Yeah, and Renatus iOS helped a ton, right? Because we can walk in here with our laptops and not necessarily have a contractor. We can say, okay, well, this is what needs to be done, and we have an estimated rehab budget, at least an idea, before we bring a contractor in. So that when they try to give us a price, we kind of know where we need to be.
Yeah. I love our software.
Oh my gosh.
You brought that up.
Yeah, and it's so cool because the windows, like, you know, we were comparing apples to apples. It's like right on as far as the materials. So it's like, it's just such a powerful tool. And this is what I love about the way we invest. We've got 2 or 3 different exit strategies lined up just in case the market turns.
Right.
Because a lot of people come to me and they're like, man, real estate, you're courageous. And I'm like,
I'm educated,
yes,
right?
Yes. I was like, no, owning a job is really courageous.
Erica, where do you see your life 5-10 years from now?
You know, it's an interesting question that you asked because I thought I had to work till 65. Now I'm on a path where I'm set to retire and be financially independent within the next 5 years. Yeah. And it's a beautiful thought, right? And I never thought that possible, even being highly educated, being a 6-figure income earner with my W-2, right? But still, you still have a need to come back and fulfill somebody else's dream. Yeah. So yeah, 5 years and financial independence is where I see myself.
Man, good for you. How does your husband feel about this? As a matter of fact, let me ask you, how did he feel about it when you first got started with Renatus versus now?
Great question. So at first I had to sell him on it, right? And my intentions were really just to make our investment and just keep moving forward into real estate. But I found something different. I found that that it's more to it because you start building all these relationships, and along the way, he saw the vision. When we received our first check, back then it was a check, he was like, oh, this is real. And then he was a believer, right? Seeing is believing. And thereafter, he's been there to support. He's been my backbone.
I'm gonna do this the rest of my life. I mean, I love the community, and I answered one of her advertisements. And because of her, that ripple effect has helped my parents retire. that's helped me get married, that's just had a huge effect on my lifestyle and those around me. And so I know that I'm going to continue to do this because I'm living on purpose, and I'm really grateful about it. So me and my wife, I call us Renatians.
Renatians.
Because we're from a different planet, right? We believe in what you've laid down as far as servant leadership, and I just can't wait to continue to see the ripple effect on the different lives that we get the opportunity to affect every day.
Well, we're back where it all started, the great state of Utah. Right now, I'm standing in front of the state capitol. You know, Utah is a state with a rich history of pioneers and trailblazers. And I can tell you from experience that entrepreneurism is alive and well here. And one of the many reasons why it's been named as one of the best states to start and grow a business. Of course, after traveling across the nation with us, you've been able to witness for yourself that business and real estate success is possible wherever you may live. And guess what? It all begins with a decision. A decision to do more, to be more, to accomplish more. Well, our trip across America may be at an end, but my guess is that your journey to real estate success and business ownership is just getting started. So to find out if Renatus can help you on the road to success, well, please, man, join us on our next video where we're going to show you the behind-the-scenes look at what makes the Renatus educational experience so effective. Just click on the next button on your screen to gather the facts about the Renatus difference. We want to show you why we do what we do and how we help people achieve such extraordinary results. Again, just click on the button now so that you can join us there, and we'll see you on the next video.